Ladies and gentlemen, stay silent, everything will come to you naturally. In a world that thrives on noise, urgency, and the constant need for action, stillness can feel like a radical act. We're conditioned to believe that our worth is tied to our productivity, that our value lies in how much we do, achieve, or conquer. But the truth is, some of life's most profound breakthroughs and moments of clarity happen not when we're moving at full speed, but when we choose to pause and be still. Stillness is not the absence of movement, it's the presence of something far greater awareness, intention, and connection. It's about stepping out of the whirlwind of daily life and creating space for ourselves to think, feel, and simply be. When we allow ourselves to be still, we access a deep reservoir of strength that often gets drowned out by the noise of our busy lives. Think about nature for a moment. The tallest trees don't grow during storms or wild winds. They grow in moments of calm, when the sun is shining and the rain falls gently. In the same way, we too grow in our moments of stillness. It is in these moments that we can gather our thoughts, reflect on where we are, and decide where we want to go. We live in a culture that celebrates speaking up, being heard, and making our voices known. While there's undeniable value in self-expression, we often overlook the transformative power of listening. Listening is more than a passive act, it's an active choice to create space for understanding, connection, and growth. In fact, the greatest breakthroughs in relationships, ideas, and even personal growth often begin when we choose to listen instead of rushing to speak. Listening is not just hearing words, it's an art. It requires focus, patience, and the willingness to set aside our own thoughts and agendas. When we truly listen, we're not waiting for our turn to speak or planning our next argument. We're fully present, engaged in the moment, and open to the perspectives and emotions of others. This kind of listening has the power to transform conversations into meaningful connections. Consider how often we're tempted to interrupt or interject when someone else is speaking. It's human nature to want to share our thoughts, offer advice, or relate the conversation back to our own experiences. But when we interrupt, we rob others of the chance to fully express themselves. We miss the opportunity to understand their point of view, their feelings, and the nuances of what they're trying to convey. Listening requires humility. It asks us to put aside the need to be right, to let go of the urge to dominate the conversation, and to approach each interaction with curiosity rather than judgment. When we listen with the intention to understand rather than respond, we create a safe space for others to open up. In that space, trust flourishes and relationships deepen. The power of listening extends beyond our interactions with others. It transforms our relationship with ourselves. When we listen to our own inner voice, we begin to understand our needs, desires, and fears. Too often, we drown out our intuition with noise, distractions, and the opinions of others. By cultivating the practice of listening to ourselves, we gain clarity and develop a stronger sense of self-awareness. Listening also has the potential to solve problems and heal conflicts. Think about a time when you felt truly heard. Perhaps someone listened to you without interrupting, without trying to fix or judge, and simply let you share. That moment likely felt validating, even healing. Imagine what could happen if we all offered that gift of listening to one another more often. It's important to acknowledge that listening isn't always easy. It requires effort, patience, and often a willingness to sit with discomfort. Sometimes we hear things we don't agree with or things that challenge our perspectives. But it's in these moments that listening becomes most powerful. When we allow ourselves to truly hear another person's experience, even if it differs from our own, we grow in empathy and understanding. The power of listening lies not in what it takes from us, but in what it gives to us and to others. It gives clarity in the midst of confusion, connection in the face of isolation, and peace in the chaos of misunderstanding. Listening is a gift we can give freely, and yet it's one of the most valuable contributions we can make to the world. So the next time you find yourself in a conversation, pause before you speak. Instead of rushing to fill the silence, lean into it. Ask yourself, what can I learn here? What is this person truly trying to say? How can I make them feel seen and heard? In those moments, you'll discover the extraordinary power of listening, the power to bridge divides, deepen relationships, and create a world where everyone feels valued. In a society where words often take center stage, let's remember the profound impact of listening. It's not just about staying quiet, it's about opening ourselves to the beauty and depth of what others have to share. And in doing so, we not only transform our conversations, but also our connections, our communities, and ourselves. Growth is often depicted as an active process pushing boundaries, striving toward goals, and making consistent progress. But there's another dimension to growth, one that doesn't involve movement or noise. Silence, often misunderstood as emptiness or inaction, is a fertile ground where real transformation takes root. It's within silence that we reflect, process, and truly grow. Silence isn't simply the absence of sound. It's the presence of an intentional stillness that allows us to connect with our inner world. In the fast-paced rhythm of life, silence is often overlooked or avoided. Many of us fill our days with constant activity, conversations, or distractions to avoid confronting the discomfort of quiet. But what if silence is exactly what we need? Think of silence as a pause, a moment to step back and let your mind and heart catch up with the world around you. Just as seeds need the stillness of soil to germinate, we too need the stillness of silence to nurture our ideas, emotions, and aspirations. In these quiet moments, we gain the clarity and perspective necessary to make meaningful changes in our lives. One of the most significant ways silence fosters growth is by creating a space for self-awareness. When we allow ourselves to be silent, we can tune out the noise of external expectations and listen to our inner voice. This self-reflection is a powerful tool for personal growth. It helps us identify patterns, understand our motivations, and recognize the areas where we want to improve. Silence allows us to ask ourselves the hard questions: am I living in alignment with my values? What brings me joy? What holds me back? Silence also teaches us patience. Growth doesn't happen overnight. Just as a tree takes years to reach its full height, our personal and emotional growth requires time and care. Silence reminds us to trust the process. It allows us to sit with uncertainty and resist the urge to force quick solutions. In this waiting, we learn resilience and develop a deeper trust in ourselves and the journey we're on. Another powerful aspect of silence is its ability to enhance creativity and problem solving. When we step away from the constant chatter of our minds or the demands of others, we give our brains the freedom to wander and explore. Some of the best ideas and insights come not from relentless focus, but from moments of quiet contemplation. In the silence, our subconscious mind has the room it needs to connect dots, uncover solutions, and spark innovation. Silence also holds space for emotional healing. In the rush of daily life, it's easy to suppress or ignore difficult emotions. But silence invites us to sit with our feelings, no matter how uncomfortable they may be. It's in this quiet acceptance that we begin to process, heal, and move forward. Silence isn't about avoiding our emotions, it's about giving them the room to surface and be acknowledged. In our relationships, silence can also serve as a space for growth. It's not just about listening to others, but about creating moments where words aren't necessary. Shared silence can be deeply bonding, offering a sense of presence and understanding that transcends conversation. It's in these quiet moments that relationships often deepen as we learn to appreciate the value of simply being together. Of course, embracing silence isn't always easy. For many, it can feel uncomfortable, even unnerving, to sit with quiet. We may be afraid of what we'll find when the noise fades. But it's in confronting this discomfort that growth truly begins. Silence challenges us to face ourselves, to accept who we are in the present moment while envisioning who we want to become. Silence is not a void, it's a space full of possibility. It's a canvas where we can reflect on our past, paint our future, and find peace in the present. It's a gift we can give ourselves a moment to breathe, to think, and to grow. So the next time you're tempted to fill a quiet moment with noise or activity, resist the urge. Instead, lean into the silence. Allow it to be a space where you can plant seeds of growth, nurture your spirit, and rediscover who you are. In that quiet, you'll find that growth isn't always loud or dramatic. Sometimes it's as gentle as a whisper, as steady as a heartbeat, and as transformative as the stillness of silence. Control is something many of us hold onto tightly. It gives us a sense of security, a feeling that we can shape our outcomes and direct our lives exactly as we intend. But the truth is, control is often an illusion. Life is unpredictable, full of twists, turns, and surprises that no amount of planning or effort can prevent. Letting go of control isn't about giving up, it's about learning to trust the process and embracing the flow of life. When we cling to control, we often create unnecessary stress and tension. We exhaust ourselves trying to micromanage every detail, only to find that some things remain stubbornly beyond our grasp. This relentless pursuit of control can leave us feeling frustrated, disappointed, and disconnected from the present moment. By letting go, we free ourselves from the burden of trying to force outcomes and open ourselves to the natural rhythm of life. Trusting the process requires a shift in mindset. It asks us to replace our fear of uncertainty with curiosity and faith. Instead of fixating on what might go wrong, we begin to focus on what might unfold. This doesn't mean abandoning responsibility or effort. It means recognizing that there's a balance between what we can control and what we must leave to chance. Letting go of control also invites us to embrace vulnerability. It's a recognition that we don't have all the answers, that we can't predict every outcome, and that sometimes the best course of action is to surrender. This vulnerability isn't weakness, it's a profound strength. It allows us to adapt, to learn, and to grow in ways we might never have imagined. When we trust the process, we cultivate patience. We stop rushing to reach the next milestone or achieve the next goal, and instead allow things to unfold in their own time. This patience teaches us that life doesn't always adhere to our timelines, but that doesn't mean it isn't working in our favor. Sometimes the most meaningful outcomes arise from delays, detours, and unexpected turns. Letting go of control also deepens our sense of gratitude. When we're not fixated on what we lack or what needs to change, we begin to appreciate what is. We notice the small joys, the quiet victories, and the beauty of the present moment. This gratitude creates a sense of abundance and peace, even in the face of uncertainty. It's important to acknowledge that letting go of control is a process in itself. It's not something we do once and never revisit. It's a daily practice, a choice to release our grip and trust in something larger than ourselves. Some days it's easier than others. But with time and practice, it becomes a way of being one that brings us closer to a life of balance, ease, and fulfillment. Letting go doesn't mean we stop caring or trying. It means we recognize the limits of our influence and learn to work with, rather than against, the natural flow of life. Trusting the process allows us to move through challenges with grace, to adapt to change with resilience, and to find meaning even in the moments we didn't plan for. Self-care is often thought of in terms of tangible acts, taking a long bath, enjoying a favorite meal, or engaging in a hobby. While these are all valuable, there's a profound yet often overlooked form of self-care that costs nothing and requires no special preparation: silence. In its simplest form, silence is a sanctuary, a space where we can rest, recharge, and reconnect with ourselves. Modern life is saturated with noise, both external and internal. The endless notifications, conversations, and demands on our time create a constant hum that can be overwhelming. Even when we're alone, our minds are often crowded with worries, to-do lists, and self-criticism. Silence, when embraced intentionally, offers a reprieve from this ceaseless noise. It's a chance to step away from the world's demands and nurture our inner well-being. Silence provides a rare opportunity for reflection. In the quiet, we can process our thoughts and emotions without the distraction of outside influences. It's a space where we can ask ourselves what we truly need, how we're feeling, and what's important to us. This self-awareness is a cornerstone of self-care, allowing us to better understand ourselves and make choices that honor our well-being. In silence, we find the freedom to simply be. There's no pressure to perform, to respond, or to prove ourselves. This absence of expectation can be deeply liberating. It's in these moments that we often discover a sense of peace and contentment that eludes us in the busyness of daily life. Silence reminds us that we are enough, just as we are, without the need for constant action or validation. Silence also plays a crucial role in physical and mental restoration. The constant stimulation of noise and activity keeps our nervous systems in a state of alertness, which can lead to stress and exhaustion over time. Quiet moments allow our bodies and minds to relax, reducing stress hormones and promoting a sense of calm. This restorative power of silence is essential for maintaining our overall health and resilience. For many, silence can initially feel uncomfortable, even unsettling. We're so accustomed to filling every moment with activity or sound that stillness can seem foreign. But with practice, silence becomes a comforting space or retreat we can turn to whenever we need to find balance. It's in these quiet moments that we learn to let go of the constant striving and embrace a more mindful, present way of being. Silence as self-care isn't about escaping from life, it's about grounding ourselves within it. It's about creating a space where we can reconnect with our inner voice and nurture our sense of self. Whether it's a few minutes of quiet in the morning, an afternoon walk in nature, or simply sitting in stillness at the end of the day, these moments of silence are acts of kindness we offer to ourselves. In a world that often equates connection with conversation, the idea of finding closeness in quiet can feel counterintuitive. Yet some of the most profound bonds are formed not through words, but through shared silence. There is a unique depth to the connections we create when we allow quiet to fill the space between us, fostering understanding and presence in a way that words sometimes cannot. Quiet has a way of stripping away the noise of distractions and superficialities, leaving room for authenticity. In silence, we don't have to perform, impress, or explain ourselves. We can simply exist alongside someone else, knowing that our presence alone is enough. This creates a profound sense of belonging, where we feel seen and accepted for who we are, without the need for verbal validation. Shared silence can deepen relationships by allowing us to truly attune to one another. When we sit quietly with someone, we notice things we might otherwise miss: their expressions, their energy, the subtle shifts in their body language. This heightened awareness fosters empathy and understanding, enabling us to connect on a level that goes beyond words. In moments of grief, joy, or uncertainty, silence often communicates more than language ever could. A quiet hug, a hand held without words, or simply sitting together in stillness can convey love, support, and solidarity in ways that transcend verbal expression. These quiet gestures create a bond rooted in mutual presence and care, offering comfort and connection in life's most vulnerable moments. Quiet also invites us to connect with the world around us. Sitting in silence amidst nature, for example, can foster a sense of unity with something greater than ourselves. Listening to the rustle of leaves, the rhythm of waves, or the chirping of birds reminds us that we are part of a larger whole. This connection to the natural world has a grounding effect, helping us feel more present and connected to the cycles of life. Silence isn't only about connecting with others, it's also about fostering a deeper connection with ourselves. In quiet moments, we become more attuned to our own thoughts, feelings, and intuitions. This self-awareness enhances our ability to connect authentically with others as we approach relationships from a place of clarity and inner alignment. In a society that often prioritizes conversation over quiet, embracing silence can feel unfamiliar or even uncomfortable. We might worry that quiet implies a lack of connection or that it signals disinterest. But when shared intentionally, silence becomes a bridge rather than a barrier or a space where true connection can thrive. Silence is a powerful, multifaceted force that nurtures growth, connection, and self-care. It allows us to listen deeply, trust the process, and find clarity amidst life's noise. In moments of quiet, we gain self-awareness, heal emotionally, and deepen relationships with others and ourselves. By embracing stillness, we move beyond the need for constant control or conversation, opening space for reflection, empathy, and authenticity. Silence is not emptiness, it is a sanctuary where transformation and meaningful connection can flourish.